It was in 2011, YWAMers came into my living room in Kansas City where I was with Mike Bickle in the International House of Prayer. And they gave us a word that the call would be shifting, and it would go to stadiums, and there would be the proclamation of the gospel, signs and wonders, and Billy Graham's mantle would come on the nation, and the call would be the entrance to something called the Send. We didn't know at the time, but 7 years later, in February 23rd, 2019, 60,000 people gathered at the stadium in Orlando to activate evangelism and missions. It was a historic day. I believe it was a catalyst for that prophetic word to begin to take place. In fact, Billy Graham died just 3 days before the Send collaboration met together and determined to go after the Send. I believe that word is still alive. Billy Graham's mantle is coming on the nation and the nations of the earth. It's very significant that Bob Jones, the great prophet, to Kansas City, gave a word when the Kansas City Chiefs win the Super Bowl, the great billion soul harvest will begin. I believe that is catalytic. And then there in Orlando, of course, is where Reinhard Bonnke had prophesied that all America shall be saved. This Send took place in Orlando, and then last year in February, 3 stadiums, 150,000 Brazilians gathered together, and for the Send in Brazil, and then they launched into 40-day fast. 50,000 Brazilians initiated the global fast last year, March 1st through April 9th. I believe those Brazilians inaugurated something in the heavens, and then COVID took place. A whole year of shutdown, and yet through social media and the likes, online media, thousands and millions have been saved. But we dare believe that the Send, even as we begin into the new year, in the near future, we will hold a Send there in Kansas City, where Bob Jones literally prophesied about the Chiefs and the Great Awakening. Recently, I went to a Send preparation strategy meeting where we were seeking God together. And there in that meeting, right before we came, my prophet friend had a dream. And in the dream, there was a chariot flying in the heavens. And in this dream, Mike Bickle and I were in the chariot, and a golden envelope was being given to us from heaven. In the back of the chariot was Bob Jones smiling. We didn't know he was there, but he was filled with joy. I feel the interpretation of the dream as we are now coming to the time of the fulfillment of Bob Jones' prophecies and what Kansas City IHOP has been praying for 20 years for the salvation of the Jews, the billion soul harvest, a million intercessors for the great final missions movement to the unreached peoples of the world. Could we be in a time when, flying in this chariot, we are to begin to fast and pray for the fulfillment of Bob Jones' prophecies? It was years ago we met with Bob Jones, and he said there are eagles that fly in the heavens, and get the revelation, but unless you have the wild geese, intercessors flying in V formation, breaking through principalities and powers, the word of the geese will never be manifest. The word of the eagles will never be manifested. He said, Lou, your tribe is the wild geese honkers. Ever since then, we have been praying for Bob Jones' prophecies. Could this be the year, as we move toward the Send Kansas City, to begin to cry out in this Yeshua Fast, this Jesus Fast, this Ruth call? produce and bring forward Bob Jones prophecies for such a time as this. We are calling this great fast around the globe, God, give birth to the prophetic words of Bob Jones. Give birth to the vision of the send, where they're singing that song, Yeshua, Yeshua, all around the globe. Even now, I'm going to put a video on this website where the Brazilians were singing in Orlando, Yeshua, Yeshua. And a young man recently sent me a dream how I opened a door and there were thousands and thousands of young people singing Yeshua, and it was the beginnings of revival. Could what happened there in Orlando, the singing of Yeshua, will actually be the tipping point for a great, great revival, maybe the final one? Bless you.